All right, so in this lesson, we want to identify a number with a square root that is between two numbers. So ideally, you're going to get two numbers that have two numbers, and you want to find a number that after square rooting it, you want to fall in between these two numbers. So we'll go through one example. It says identify a decimal that has a square root between 10 and 11. So you want to pick a random number, well not random, but you want to figure out what number after taking the square root will fall in between 10 and 11. So one way to start, method 1. So remember, it's after taking the square root, so we're trying to find this number after taking the square root will fall in between 10 and 11. So we know that the square root of 100 is 10, and we know that the square root of 121 is 11. So remember, we want to find a number where after taking the square root falls in between 10 and 11. So we use 100 and 121 because we know that when we take the square root of these numbers, it'll be 10 and 11, which is kind of what we want to figure out. So all you need to do is choose a number in between 121 and 100. I will choose 105.6. So 105.6 falls in between 100 and 121. So what I'm saying is, after I take the square root of this number, so 105.6 is equal to, it should fall in between 10 and 11, and it does. It's 10.2761806. And does 10.2 fall in between 10 and 11? Yes, it does. So we can say the decimal 105.6 is one correct answer. So there are multiple correct answers in this case. Really, any number, any decimal number in between 100 and 121 will give you a number that has a square root that falls in between 10 and 11. Or you could do it the other way. So method 2. Method 2, you could choose a decimal. Choose a decimal between 10 and 11. I will choose 10.4. So 10.4 is a number between 10 and 11, but we want to find a number after square rooting it will get us a number between 10 and 11. So all we need to do is do the reverse of the square root, which is squaring a number. So we evaluate 10.4 squared, which is equal to 108.16. So we can double check this. So we want to find a number, again, after square rooting it will fall in between 10 and 11. And so I'm saying that 108.16, after this taking the square root, should get me 10.4, which falls in between 10 and 11. And so we can say 108.16 is one correct answer. So there's two ways to do this. You can either know the perfect squares of the numbers that you have to make fall in between the two numbers, or you could just choose a decimal in between the two numbers, take the square of that number, and that becomes your answer. So hopefully that makes some sense. If you have some questions, let me know.